Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV. I'm your host tonight. Look a little bit different from our usual host. G Talks Arsenal here. It's not Stephen. He's got the night off. So wherever you are, Stephen, hope you're watching. Have a good evening and enjoy the show. Obviously, we've got a really special show tonight. We've got two shows basically combined in one. So this is our first installment of Three Lions Road to Wembley, which I'm really excited about, where we will be basically, just looking at England's progress, hopefully into the latter stages of the tournament and hopefully go all the way. And in the second half of the show, we'll be doing our usual Monday night Rumour Mill show. So we'll kind of be touching upon, all the transfers, probably not all of them, but as many as we can that we've been linked with over the last week or so. But before we get into everything, I'm going to do some introductions. And we've got three very familiar faces here with me this evening. So our very own Cannon Chatter team member, Lottie. How you doing, Lottie?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm still buzzing off yesterday. I'm absolutely exhausted, but I'm happy. That's what counts.
You've been enjoying the weather?
Yeah, I have, but unfortunately, I haven't really been sitting in it. I'm still very white. I can't sit in the sun, unfortunately. But it's nice to have some heat. But I'm ready for a little bit of rain now, just a little bit.
No worries. And we've also got Keith with us, who has been basically a kind of loyal supporter from the get-go when we started Cannon Chatter. We've had him on a couple of lives before, so we'll bring him on tonight again. How you doing, Keith?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Cheers. I feel like a little bit of a fanboy, to be honest, but this show's awesome, and the weekend was good. Love the hot weather, and obviously we'll move on to the England game in a minute. I'd just like to say I was out getting supplies yesterday, and I went to Asda, and I saw literally everyone was wearing an England shirt, and I was like, I hadn't got one, and I didn't really think about it. So then I went to Mike Ashley's shop. And I went in there, it was like 70 quid for an England shirt. I was like, no, mate, not this time of the month. But I felt really left out. So I sat there wearing an Arsenal shirt yesterday.
Brilliant. And lastly, we've got Den, who's joined us on a couple of shows before. How you doing, Den?
Yeah, all good, mate. I think Lottie spoke for us all. Like, I'm knackered. I think yesterday was really, really overwhelming and underwhelming, to say the least. I'm tired. It was a lot to deal with, considering we spent like a year doing nothing. But yeah, I'm good. I mean, 3 points on the board. Can't really complain. But yeah, we'll get into it. It's good. It's good to be on again.
Definitely. No, good to have you back. So yeah, we're just gonna run the intro video, and then we'll get started.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Obviously yesterday Friday saw the beginning of the Euros. I think it's something that everybody's been excited about for various reasons, not just the football, but just kind of getting out, mingling, socializing, etc. But we'll get onto that. But kind of before we kind of get into the show itself and the actual performance, I want to kind of touch upon the lineup. So playing Croatia, it was one of those things where I was feeling really nervous about the game, obviously because the kind of historical side of things in terms of playing Croatia in the past. And when the lineup came out, I had my thoughts, I had my my opinions, but I'm gonna just share it now. Lottie, I'll take you kind of through it because I'm not sure how visible it is or what your memory is like after how many bevies. But we had Pickford in goal, and we had a back four, I believe, of Walker, Mings, Stones, and Trippier, and then we had a midfield three of Rice, Phillips, and Mount, and then we had a front three interchanging of Kane, Foden, and Sterling. So, what were your thoughts when you saw the lineup?
Well, Pickford in goal makes me nervous. I don't know what it is. He just makes me nervous. Back four. Don't know why we had two right backs out there at all. Stones is a liability for me. especially on the international stage. Mings, I think for both the centre backs, I was just hoping for no bozo moments. I'm glad there wasn't any. As far as the middle of the park goes, I was quite happy with that. And up front with Sterling, I'm not surprised. He's a favourite of Southgate's. He's had a really bad season, and I think he still has no end product, but he did prove me wrong during that game, which kind of shut me up temporarily on Twitter. But Foden had a great game, and so did. Well, Harry had an okay game. He wasn't fantastic, but I'm looking forward to seeing more from him.
And what were your thoughts with regard to some of like the absentees? You know, obviously we've got our very own Saka as part of our graphics and overlays for the channel, and you know me and my bit of my man crush of Grealish. Did you feel as though they deserved to be in the side? Did you feel as though Gareth Southgate made the right calls with regards to starting 11?
With regard to the starting 11, I wouldn't have put Sterling on there. I would have put Jack in there because him and Foden can just switch sides and just change it up throughout, which is great. I was a bit disappointed not to see our star boy on there, obviously, but I still think it will take 3 games before he gets on there.
Not biased, are we? Not biased.
No. Try not to be.
No, definitely.
Try not to be.
I'll be honest, like I was a little bit gutted. I was really looking for as much as I can understand, not really wanting Saka to play because of obviously the Arsenal connection, and he's had a long season, and it did look like he was getting close to burnout by the end. But at the same time, I was really looking forward to seeing him play, and particularly obviously seeing Grealish play. But I was having a conversation with Keith before we went live, and I was just saying that I have my reservations about Southgate personally, but I think he's very fortunate that he has such an abundance of really talented players going forward. So I think whoever he picks, in the front 3 positions, I think there's always going to be a division of opinion. But I'll come to you, Keith. How did you feel the first half went?
First 10, 15 minutes, I loved it. The press we put on was ridiculous. But I think we all knew, and it did happen, that was not going to, that just wasn't sustainable in that heat. I got a bit nervy, probably up until maybe the last 10 minutes of the first half, where we seemed to go off the boil. They got a foothold in the game a little bit, but they weren't really creating anything. And I've got to say, I'm not getting carried away with this result because I didn't think Croatia were that brilliant. I'm just trying to be realistic. So I'm not. But going back to, if I can just go back to the lineup a little bit, when I saw Trippier on the left, I was kind of the same as Lottie. It's like, well, I mean, we've got like a million right backs in the squad as it is. And I think Shaw's had a really good season. When you look at where he was when Mourinho was at Man United, he wasn't getting a look in. And I thought he'd done all right. And I thought Trippier might have been the weak link. But I was actually really disappointed with Walker. His distribution was pretty shocking, especially in the first half. He defended well. He was better kind of without the ball. But that was, especially like I said, in the first half, he was. I thought he was probably our weakest link. I thought Mings did surprisingly well when I saw his name in there. I was just like, how's this going to go? But he was quite solid. And again, what I totally agree with what Lottie said about up front. I would not have put Sterling in. I'd have gone Jack Grealish all day long.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised to see the star boy not in there. I wasn't expecting to see him start. I was hoping to see him come on when Sterling was looking to tire, and he was obviously getting joy in the first half down the left. That was one of the things that surprised me most about the first half. I didn't think we'd get a lot of joy because there naturally wasn't the width that you'd expect with a right footer playing left back. But Sterling was getting joy all day long in the first half, and I thought maybe Saka might have come on for him in the second. But ultimately, I'd have been happier if we'd have gone in with a goal at half time, because we did have the chances. And I was a bit concerned that it might come back and bite us on the backside. But yeah, not too bad at all, bearing in mind the conditions and the heat and the enormity of the situation. And the last time we played a competitive game in a tournament was against the same side.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think I think that's generally how I was feeling. I thought, we started the match really well. But a part of me was, I think probably used to watching Arsenal and thinking, it's all well and good, being in the ascendancy. It's all well and good having the ball, pressing. But, it's that same old story that, possession or even chances don't win games, it's goals. So I kind of felt like at the end of the half time that, although we've played well, this is still a dangerous team. And we haven't got that, that probably deserved goal at that point. It hadn't quite come. So obviously we kicked off in the second half, kind of much of the same, really. And then on the 57th minute, I'll leave it to you then. How was you feeling at that point on the 57th minute when Calvin Phillips picked up the ball and put in what a delicious ball to Sterling to finish it off?
Yeah, I think you preached for the choir there, to be fair. Like when you said about the fact that you can have all the possession in the world, but it doesn't mean anything. If the ball don't get in the back of the net, it doesn't mean sod all, to be fair. It's a bit annoying, but I was so happy for Raheem Sterling. I know there's going to be maybe some backlash from this, but I love the guy. I think this season he's been under a lot of pressure, and he's had so much slander. I think it may be the fact that there's been bigger heads ahead of him. Maybe there's been people shining where he's not. I don't know. Like Mahrez has had a good season. Foden's had a good season. People like that at Man City. And he's been thrown under the bus technically for City. So as soon as I saw him starting, I thought if anyone needs a goal, it's him. Like he needed it massively, to be honest. It may have been let's be real, we'll probably go into this more in a bit, but it may have been a bit of a, let's just say shabby goal. But he needed it, and for his confidence, I hope it just brings him further. But yeah, I was buzzing. I was buzzing for England to score, but I was more happy that it was him because I want him to succeed. And I've always said as well, Rashford and Sterling are not getting dropped. There's no way both of them are getting dropped. One of them was starting. I was shocked to see it be Sterling. I'll be real with you. I was quite shocked to see Sterling start. I thought Rashford would be the one too, but yeah, the fact that he scored was nice to see. And the fact that Kane had a completely woeful game it just completely made it better because we'll go into that. But yeah, I was over the moon really, to be honest, mate. Because he really did need that.
But it's interesting, like you said, Rashford. I'll go back to Chris's comment. Where is it? Actually, that's the wrong one. Bear with me because I'm using StreamYard for the first time tonight. Yeah, so bear with me, guys. But yeah, just to kind of go back to Chris's comment here, like you interestingly enough said that Rashford and Sterling, not kind of getting dropped. Like so, in terms of your opinion and in terms of like put yourself in Gareth Southgate's shoes. If you were the England manager, who would be your front three? Would you go via like kind of merit of the season?
It's a tough one because the way I say it, his job's easy because you can't really go wrong in the front three. You're always going to start someone that's good. Like I'm not being funny, but the people he selected, there's no one bad there. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not got like at the back. It's quite you can make a bad decision. Like when I saw Tyrone Mings in the starting lineup, I thought, oh God forbid. I thought here we go. I thought all these 30-year-olds at Croatia are going to have a field day, but. I mean, they didn't have much to do. Croatia didn't have many chances, but in the front three, you can't really go wrong. I don't think you can do much wrong. Like whoever you pick, he could have put Rashford, Sterling, and Kane in the front three. Yeah, it's annoying, but I don't think many people would have cried. Because they're still a good front three. Like you mentioned Calvin Phillips earlier, he had a great game. Probably the best game he'll have in this entire tournament, to be honest. Like considering he was up against really experienced players in Croatia. But yeah, I think the front for me, I think Southgate had you can't start Grealish, Mount, and Foden. It sounds like a dream day when you play them all, but you can't start them all because if you drop Rashford or Sterling, there's not enough experience in that squad. And I'm not being disrespectful to Grealish, but you need some experience on that front three. And if you put Kane, Foden, and Grealish in that front three, it sounds amazing, but there's not enough experience up there. If you get one like, and I just think it's risky. Whereas Sterling, maybe Sterling could have scored 2 or 3 more, but he has experience in these games. And I know everyone talks about that. Oh, Kane should have squared it Sterling and stuff like that. And when Sterling scored the fake goal a couple of years ago, everyone goes on about stuff like that. But he has it in him. He has it in his locker. Everyone knows that. He done it. He showed it for Liverpool. That's why he's at Man City now. And he's still young. Like people are saying, like I think someone said earlier, I'll take Sterling at Arsenal for sure. Any club would have him because he's capable and he's shown it. So I think he made the right decision in the lineup. I'd have probably you could say, I would have started Grealish, but someone has to lose out. Do you get what I mean? In the 26th, they've got someone has to lose out.
Yeah. I think he's always, like I said, me and Keith were having a bit of this conversation before we came on air, and I think he definitely has an issue with regards to who to play, and I think in a way it's a good headache selection to have. I had a WhatsApp chat with Lottie about it as well earlier today. That it's one of those things where it's like it's going to divide opinion because we're so kind of blessed and fortunate with particularly offensive players. It's almost like as fans we're all going to have our favorites. Do you know what I mean? Players that we'd want to see, players that we're kind of biased towards, but. I fully take on board what you're saying. There needs to be a balance, of experience and youth. Players that are kind of been on the big occasion, etc., Because if you fill the front three of Sancho, Saka, and I don't know,
exactly.
It's just
like Sancho there as well. Like Sancho's another pick. Like Sancho's he's just a better piece to the puzzle. Like Sancho's someone that people don't even talk about, and he's brilliant. Like the fact that he don't even get talked about. Just shows how much like competition there is in that team. It's good, but I wish there was more versatility around the team because it's all up top, whereas at the back we've got Tyrone Mings starting as a centre back.
I thought he had a good game, I thought he played all right.
I'm not saying he didn't. I think it's a bit embarrassing that we have all these players up top and then Tyrone Mings is starting as a centre half. I find it baffling. I'm not going to change my mind on that.
No, I hear you. So I think we kind of touched upon it already, but I'm going to bring up a picture of this geezer. What were your thoughts, Lottie, on his performance? First of all, his inclusion in the starting 11, because I know there was quite a bit of different opinion on Twitter.
Yeah, do you know what? I was actually surprised to see him starting, but I was like, okay, let's just give him a chance. And I'm kind of glad I took that stance because he had a phenomenal game from what I saw, especially in the build-up to Sterling's goal. I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think there's a lot more to come out of him from this game onwards, but whether he gets picked is a different story for me. But I'm looking forward to him play a lot more.
That's interesting. Do you see him? Do you see him then potentially cementing his place after that performance?
You can't judge that on one game. You can't have that spot after one game. It needs to be consistent, and I think that's what needs to be done in terms of a team and going forward in this tournament is consistency. We've got to turn up, we've got to be switched on, we've got to have that drive to get through to the round of 16, and I think he's going to be instrumental in it as well.
Definitely. It's definitely one of those things where obviously you have a certain amount of players in the squad. And obviously, if you go all the way, it's a pretty long competition. The games come thick and fast. So I'm sure we will see a lot of the players that, we've mentioned tonight, hopefully, maybe even on Friday or next Tuesday. So I'll come to you, Keith. Generally, like the performance as a whole, what were your thoughts? Obviously, we got the win, we got the 3 points on the board. You know, I'll come to Den next in terms of like looking ahead to Friday's game. But generally, Keith, how were you feeling? You know, obviously putting aside the whole it's coming home and everybody jumping on the bandwagon. But if we can just be realistic and logical about the actual performance itself, you know, what were your thoughts?
Sorry, was that to me? I lost you for a minute there. It all froze up. Going back quickly to Calvin Phillips, I was really interested in what Den said earlier, that it may well be his best game of the entire tournament. I hope it's not, because I don't want us to get too.
I hope so too, mate.
I don't want us to get too carried away with it. And you know, according to Twitter, we're going to offer like 155 million for him now because he's the best player in the world. But I was well impressed with him. Taking aside the vision that he showed for Raheem's goal, it was like the way he was breaking play up, and the commentator that shall remain nameless, I agreed with him for once. He was being really cute with how he was breaking the play up. But I'm not sure what the deal is with bookings. Do they get carried over from the group stage to the knockout? I'm not sure in this one.
I think they get voided after the group stages. I believe.
Yeah, start from scratch. Yeah,
I'm fairly certain.
Scratch, yeah.
Calvin Phillips is going to get watched really closely by the referees in the next 2 games because he got away with a lot yesterday, an awful lot. Sorry, I've forgotten entirely what the original question was. I went into Calvin Phillips.
No, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just the original question was just, you know, without us all getting carried away and thinking that, you know, we've won it already after a 1-0 win against Croatia. Just kind of from a real kind of realistic perspective, what did you actually make of just the whole performance as a whole? Sorry, mate. Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? The performance as a whole, I'd probably give him like a 7 out of 10, maybe. Like I said earlier, I wasn't blown away by Croatia. I know they're getting older as a team, and they didn't. I mean, I don't think Pickford was really troubled at all. He had a couple. Probably his biggest problem was the backheader from Trippier, to be perfectly honest. They didn't really offer a lot. So, and I always do this in tournaments. Like the reason why I haven't bought a shirt, I try so hard not to get carried away. And then I see all the cars with the flags on them. I see everyone's houses with the flags on them. And then it gets to a point, like you get through the knockout stage and all of a sudden I'm saying, like, it's coming home. But we're going to face much sterner challenges. We'll face a much sterner challenge against Scotland, regardless of their result today. You know, it's England, Scotland's the old enemy at the end of the day. But I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground, and it's not coming home just yet. But if we manage to get past France, Germany, or Portugal in the round of 16 in the quarterfinals, I might start getting a bit daft then. Yeah.
But it was sensible. It was good, and we got the result, and we won for the first time ever. Opening game of the Euros.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely take that 1-0 all the way. Yeah.
Definitely, because we always seem to start major competitions, you know, a little bit off the ball, you know, a little bit dodgy. So now it was nice to get the win. So coming to you then. So in terms of like the general performance and looking forward to the game on Friday against the Scots, you can kind of give me an overview of what you thought about the game, but also, you know, what would you keep, what would you change moving forward into that game?
I mean, I might get a bit of slander here, but I thought it was a bit bland. I was bored. Like I was bored watching the game. I was more like I was in the pub, so I was quite happy with the atmosphere. I was more enjoying the atmosphere. I said this off air to you just before, but I think it was something we all needed. We needed a buzz around us, you know. Like I'm not saying it was like an elephant in the room sort of thing, but I think it was the fact that we needed some sort of happiness, and the fact that we won was good, but the game was just boring overall. If it weren't for the slappy goal, we probably wouldn't have. If Croatia would have turned up, we wouldn't have won that game. I think Keith just touched on Keith just touched on the fact that they did nothing. They didn't really, they weren't up. They didn't seem up for it. And I completely agree that Scotland, and I said this, I know Lottie said this on my channel the other day, Scotland is going to be the tough game. Everyone thought Croatia would be the massive one. I think Scotland's going to be really hard, and especially now that they've just lost, they know they've got to turn it on. They've got to turn it on at Wembley, because otherwise, like, you lose 2 games, you're out.
You're out, yeah.
Yeah, you're out. Like, so it's made Friday massive. Losing 2-0 to Czech has made it massive. Scotland down, and they will be up for it. I hope it's a different lineup. No disrespect to Phillips, he was brilliant. We've obviously just spoke about him, but I hope we play more attacking. I'd like to see Grealish on Friday. And
me too.
I don't know who gets dropped. I'm not gonna suggest someone to get dropped, because I think this is the worst time to drop Sterling personally, because he's just scored. So it might be a really wrong time to drop him, because now he might go for it. You know what I mean? And he had a few chances. He had a few chances yesterday. I know he should have taken him, but that's the position you want to see him in. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a good time to be playing him. But I hope we play more attacking. Yesterday was too defensive for me. And I think we just let them. We gave a team that didn't really need to have it. And I think they didn't even do anything with it, so it was a bit of a waste. Whereas Scotland, I think we just need to go all guns blazing, and I hope we do. I don't think we will. Southgate hasn't got it in him. Whatsoever. But I think we need to just absolutely throw it at them. Get a nice little early, I don't know, 1-0, 2, even 2-0. We should be able to with the team we've got, and then they'll be in the position where, you know, it's theirs to lose, because Scotland have now got they've got a lot of weight on their shoulders, because they've got 0 points, and you only play 3 games. That's the thing with this competition. You only play 3 games. You lose one, you've got to win the next. So I think I don't envy him. Because the problem is, like I feel like there's a team there, and at the moment he just needs to show that he's capable. Like, I don't think he's making all the right decisions, whereas it's such an easy job, because you've just got so much talent there. But at the back, like, Phillips has got a bit of an advantage because Henderson isn't fit, whereas other than that, for me, it's an easy choice. It's an easy choice in what you start and what you do. But Friday, I'd probably make like 4 changes to what started yesterday at least. Mings would be one of them. I think I've already probably made that clear, but Mings would definitely be the first person I'd take out of that team, because I just think if I was Shea Adams, I saw Tyrone Mings, and like, John Stones is great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's a different player for City for what he is to England. I don't think you see that out of him, what you see at City. And if I was Shea Adams, I'd be quite happy seeing Tyrone Mings on the other side of the pitch. But yeah. And then you look at the fact that the midfield, Phillips had a good game, but Scotland's different kettle. John McGinn, like, he's not a bad player, is he? Let's be real. And they scored a cracking goal today as well. I don't know where that came from, absolutely nowhere. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was absolute, like, I don't know what to make of Scotland. I think they've got the players there to turn it on, and I think against England, I think it will. But I've said it will be 2-1 England. I think they're going to probably have a lot more attack about them than what Croatia did. Whereas with Croatia, like I just said, I think they would have probably they should have beaten us, really, because we didn't put anything into it. We just sat back and thought, okay, this is an easy win, 1-0, and I can't think of one person I know that bet on 1-0. I can't think of one. Yeah, like.
I'm gonna have to own up to that one. I called it on my Euro app. I called it. I got the points and the goal scorer. So I'm gonna hold my hands up to that. You do know someone that did.
You actually called a goal scorer as well?
Yes, I did. I got a
definitely.
That must have been good. That would have been good.
I was very pleased. I was on a roll. So very pleased with that.
Yeah, I think the Scottish game is definitely going to be a tough game. I watched their game earlier, and I think they were quite unfortunate. You know, they created some chances, but you know they weren't clinical, and they were kind of you know, one set piece and, you know, an absolute beautiful goal, as you said. I think it was from about the halfway line or just over the halfway line. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. It's one of those things. So
that'll be goal in the tournament, I reckon. That has to be goal in the tournament.
It's got to be more
It's
to
up
come
there.
than that.
I
It's
hope
up
that.
there.
Yeah.
What about the comment that's on the screen? Anyone think Holding should have been in the England squad?
No. Oh my God. Get off.
I'm not going to answer
Get
Tony
off.
on that subject. Me and
Yes,
Tony have
that
had
is
this
the worst
conversation, I'm
comment
afraid.
Mate, people like
Sorry, Tony.
Conza got, even Ben Godfrey, Conza and Ben Godfrey got left out. So the fact that Holding's even being considered is just embarrassing. I'm not even being horrible, but no,
Keith?
no way. No,
Holding?
he's the last person I pick. Sorry.
I wouldn't have took him.
Yeah. I wouldn't even consider him. I wouldn't even if Southgate took him, that would confirm my doubts. I'm already doubtful, but if Southgate took him, that would confirm everything for me.
I think the only thing in Holding's favour, he always seems to cup finals and things like that. He's always seemed to have done well. I remember when he came in against Chelsea and he just bossed Costa out of the game when he was much younger.
No.
But then you look at this season, he's been outjumped by Raheem Sterling.
Holding should never get in the squad for me. No, if
Yeah,
Holding played for England, I'm sorry, but
I'm not overjoyed
he
about.
doesn't even stand out for us. And look at the defenders we've got. Like, he doesn't even stand out for us. So if he's playing at international level, nah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have took him.
Yeah, you know what? Despite even the fact that I'm a gooner, like I have to agree. I just can't legitimize having Holding in the side, given the centre back options that we do have as an England team. But obviously, Stevens just put this up. England 0, Scotland 1. So I'll come to you first, Lottie, with score predictions. What are your score predictions for Friday?
2-1 England. 2-1 England, and I'm going to go with Sterling and possibly Foden to get the score.
Okay, Keith?
I don't fancy Harry Kane.
I think there's going to come a point where a few of us on Twitter are going to be going on about Raheem Sterling's end product being absolutely terrible. Then I think he's going to go goal a game, score the winning goal in the final, but he's going to score against Scotland. And I reckon, you remember we beat the Dutch 4-1 in '96? I'm not saying it's going to be that amazing a performance, but I think there could be. If I agree with Den, I think he'll make a few changes for that one. And personally, I'd like to see maybe Grealish taking the place of one of the deeper midfielders, just to make those runs and break the lines, because he's got that in him. But I'm going to say 4-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Convincing win. What about you, Den?
Tough in it. I think it is all dependent on the line. I don't like making predictions because with Southgate, he's a bit of a he's not the full ticket, is he? He's not the full ticket. So I think it all depends on what I think it'll be. Playing for a draw and we finish to avoid. I hate stuff like this. I'm not calling this person out, but the way I see it,
Dan, you called me out the other day.
Yeah, if we come up against France, Germany, or Portugal, we have to play France. If we beat them, we play Spain anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference. You got to beat the big fish to get in the pond. You get what I mean? Like the way I see it, Portugal, France, or Germany is just a range up in an ocean because we've got to beat someone better afterwards. And I think, anyway, going back to the game, I think it is. We need a pivotal player there at the moment, and Grealish is probably what we need. I think he's the answer to the problems, but who do you take out? You're not going to play less people at the back because Scotland will just expose us. I'm going to say 3-1 England. I'm going to be confident for this one. So that it's coming home. It's coming home.
It's coming home.
Yeah, we got. I'm going to say 3-1 England, just because I think there'll be more to this because Scotland haven't got a good back four, and I think Kane has a point to prove. Like he was shocking yesterday. I thought he was asleep. I didn't see him. To be honest, if I'd had 2 more beers than what I did, I probably wouldn't have known he was playing. He was embarrassing to what he just did nothing. You could have had. I'll tell you what. You could have had Troy Deeney in the front, and you wouldn't know nothing different. So, yeah, I think Kane needs to do something in the next game. And I hope he does. Because he's in a shop window as well. That's the thing. He's in a nice little shop window, trying to get this move out of Tottenham. So
maybe he doesn't want
it. He needs to start proving 100 mil. Never mind 150.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, so that's about it really in terms of like our summary of the game and summary of the performance. I think it's kind of unanimous that it was good to get the win. It was good to get 3 points. But I definitely share reservations of singing "It's Coming Home" just yet. Because my kind of opinion was there were times I kind of agree with what you said earlier. Then there were times when I was a little bit bored. There were really, really flat moments in the game, but at the same time, there were glimpses. Even with the goal was a good example of that. There were glimpses of what the players could actually do and the quality that we do have. So really good to get the win. Obviously, we look forward to Scotland on Friday, when we'll do our next show, which is 3 Lions Road to Wembley.
I said to my mate yesterday, he was like, "What do you think of England?" Like before the game started, I was like, "I feel like England are drowning, and Southgate has like a lot of buckets around him. Like there's a lot of buckets just here, and he just doesn't use them. Like he just watches us drown when we could just be quite happy swimming along. Like, do you get what I mean? Like I feel like there's just enough talent there to change the game, but." The same happens. I'm not going to go into this because it's a different topic, but the same happens with Arsenal. Sometimes you'll make a sub at 70th minute when we're losing 2-0, and it's like, why not make it at the 50th? Southgate's like that. Like he just doesn't use what he's got there. So it's a waste, really. And I'd hate to be in that team. Like I'd hate to be someone like Saka because it must just be boring sitting there watching and thinking, well, I'm the last person he's going to pick. Like people like Grealish aren't even getting in. But yeah. Friday will be interesting. I can't wait. I'm going to see more buzz, especially after yesterday. More buzz for the atmosphere and for that. I want to see him mix it up. If he doesn't mix it up, I think we're all going to be worried. Yeah,
cool. Right, and that's it for our first episode of 3 Lions Road to Wembley. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a short break. We're going to transport ourselves to the Rumour Mill, and then we're going to take you through as many as we can of the players that we've been linked with over the last week or so. So we'll see you shortly. And we are here at the Rumour Mill. So welcome, obviously. Thank you for those of you that have tuned in to watch 3 Lions Road to Wembley. Thank you for sticking with us. Please do, like, subscribe, and also pop in your comments. I'm going to go through as many comments as I can throughout the show. We've got lots of players that we're going to cover. It seems as though every single day, we're linked with a new player, a new position. And I think the best place to start tonight is at the right back position. There's no secret that, given Bellerin's performance and his absence from, the actual lineup, that he's going to be leaving this summer. So, Lottie, we have been linked with, I can't count how many right backs to replace Bellerin. And I know in the last week, there's been about 4 or so. You've got Baku at Wolfsburg. You've got Selic at Lille, you've got Tyler Adams at Leipzig, and you've got a young Vanderson at Gremio. But there's 2 that I think you're going to focus on. Who are you going to focus on first?
I'm going to have a look at Celik. We saw him play on Friday night.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, he's 24. He's approaching the peak of his career. I find watching him for Lille, he's very balanced. Mm-hmm. He's had 38 starts this season across League One, Coupe de France, and obviously the Europa League. I find that he likes to get forward. He likes to be on the ball. I think he has the highest stats in terms of ball progression from a fullback. Mm-hmm. He's definitely someone who likes to open up defences, which is what we are missing in Bellerin at the moment. Bellerin has his moments, but we need it consistently from him. From what I've seen from him in glimpses on Friday night, I think that he has a very, very hard press up the pitch. He likes to win the ball, but that slowly fizzled out as Turkey got tired. Mm-hmm. I mean, Italy absolutely destroyed them in the end. They were just absolutely run ragged. and he kind of dropped off from it because they weren't organised.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, what I've seen him do at Lille, he's exactly what Kieran Tierney does on our left. So why can't we have it on our right side as well?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would challenge anyone in our leagues if we had both Tierney and him going down on the right and going down on the left.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how about Vanderson, the young 19-year-old from Gremio that you had a little look at?
Yeah, I had a quick look at him. I've never heard of him, but obviously we've got the Edu Brazilian links.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be looking to pick up players from there because Edu's obviously been watching the upcoming talent from there. I think this one for me is the most Arsenal rumour ever because he's just signed a new contract with Gremio. I think I said that right. And literally hours later, he's linked with Arsenal. Is there any surprise there, boys? But there are no rules that say he can't sign with us. I mean, look at what was his name? Demichelis. He signed for Atletico. End of the summer, he signed with City. Bought him.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can effectively happen. At the moment, from what I've seen stats wise, he's made 19 appearances across 5 Brazilian competitions. Gremio are in the top flight over in Brazil. He's had 1 goal and 1 assist this season, and I think for a 19-year-old, that's great. Obviously, we're not comparing him to our star boy, who's had a blinding season, but just from what I've seen on YouTube and stats wise, I think he's a possibility. But I've heard there's an 83 million clause.
Wow.
To buy out. So I don't think we'll be spending that much money on him.
Yeah. So obviously, I had a little look at some of the right backs as well, and I think of the ones that we've been linked with, I think Celik, at Lille looks to me to be the most kind of accomplished or most kind of seasoned out of all of them, and I kind of have my reservations. I know we're looking to replace Bellerin with somebody who is quite a bit young. Quite a bit younger than he is. At the same time, I think we've made it no secret. I've made it no secret that I really want to see kind of British-based players that know their way around the Premier League or the Championship. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we're heading into that direction. So, out of the 4 that I kind of mentioned, he would definitely be the one that kind of stands out for me. He's a seasoned pro. He's an international player, and I don't think he would come at too hefty a cost. But I don't know about you, both you, Keith, and Den. What are your thoughts on the right back situation? Is there a player in particular that you would like to potentially come in for Bellerin of the 4, or another potential target? I'll go to you first, Keith.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with both you, G, and you, Lottie. I mean, Vanderson that's got Eddie written all over it, but for 83 million, and the kid, he's not Premier League ready, so no, forget about that. I really, really like Tyler Adams.
Yeah,
I've been watching him a fair bit, and even though he hasn't played in the Premier League, his Bundesliga, which I suppose of all the major leagues is probably the closest there is to the Premier League. And the thing I really like about him, this kid is rapid. He is so quick. And mostly what I've seen of him is playing central midfield. But the fact that he can play
flexibility as well, isn't it?
Equally well central midfield or right back. And we're going to lose Thomas Partey to the AFCON whenever that is next season. So he could drop in there as well. And his passing's amazing. There was one game, I think it was United States against Brazil, and he was just spraying the ball around like a quarterback. But his short passing is good as well, and his vision seems to be quite good. And from what I've seen, we might be able to get him for about 18 million. So it could even rival. I mean, I love Basuma. I've been banging on for ages. Like, just get it done. Keep seeing pictures of him on Twitter with Arsenal tops in the background and a little AFC baseball cap on his hotel room bed. But I'm a big fan of Tyler Adams. So I'd go for him.
And what about you, then? Of the four, or anyone else in particular?
I mean, I like that Selic. Like, he looked good on Friday. Like, I think Lottie was right in terms of the fact Italy was just a really tough nut to crack. Like, no one, a lot of people, like, I saw a lot of people really slandering Turkey. I didn't like it because I just thought, look, they're up against Italy. Italy are big dogs. Let's be real. Like, they're not an easy team to face first time in a tournament. And everyone was like, Turkey are underdogs, and then next thing you know, everyone's like, "Oh, maybe not, maybe not." It's like they're up against Italy. Italy aren't exactly the easiest team to play first. But yeah, Adams provide something different. Like he's got versatility. He can play them two positions, and yeah, he's got pace. I think we need someone that can play in those different positions. You know, like yeah, I get Chambers can do that, but we need. You know, we need bigger fish in the team. We need someone that can actually be a first team person at the moment, and he can I like the fact that he can probably play at the left back as well. Like he's obviously shown he can play in different positions. He seems like he can just play. From what I've seen from him, he can play anywhere. So yeah, if I was going to put my money on something, Tyler Adams has got to be it for me. But it depends on price as well. We don't know because we don't know what they're going to really sell him for, because he's one of very few talents that they've got in the team that they can probably make money off. He's really young, like we've just touched on. Like, he looks about 12 when I just saw that picture.
They popped a buying clause in the summer as well. No one knows
exactly.
The value of that is.
You need to be careful. Like, it depends on what we can afford, what we sell Hector for and stuff like that. But if we can get him, he's definitely my first choice. Like, I know there's been talks of Emerson and Selic and stuff like that, but I want someone that can at least play all around the field. Like Keith touched on with the AFCON, we're going to lose like 3-4 players, I think, with Pepe, Party, and we'll probably buy another African player in the summer, no doubt. So we need to buy someone that can play in all areas. I think it'll be beneficial. And if we get injuries, it's just good as well, because you want them to be all around the field, you know.
Yeah, definitely. He was, you know, even though, you know, for me it was, you know, Selic, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. For me, out of the four, he was kind of my preference. But I did really notice just how rapid Tyler Adams was. You know, I saw so many videos where, you know,
he's American. Is he American? He's American.
Yeah, he's American. Yeah. He's an American international.
That's what I mean. You don't get once in a blue moon. You get a really good American player. Like
Kroenke's all over that as well.
No
shout out for that.
It just looked as though there were so many times when they were in, like, you know, kind of a compromising situation, and it was his pace that basically, you know, saved them from conceding a goal. So, and that's going to be invaluable in the Premiership, because given, you know, a lot of teams play, you know, counter-attacking football, etc., etc. But yeah, I think, you know what, looking at all of them, they all look like decent players. Even the German kid Baku at Wolfsburg, he looks like a real tough cookie. Like he looks like he's really up for a fight. Like super strong. But yeah, I think out of all of them, Selic would probably be my first choice. But to be fair, if we bought any one of them, I'd be happy, to be honest, because, you know, like you said then on the last show, you know, how many players coming in right now would not be an improvement on Bellerin. So,
exactly.
It's one of those. It's one of those. So yeah,
my mum got a phone call from Eddie the other day, actually, asking if she'd go in, because she's an improvement.
Yeah, let's hope we sort the right back situation out very soon. But moving on to our next player, and I'm going to come to you, Keith, first and foremost, and that's this young man. He has been linked with a move to Arsenal over the last week. All types of fees been mentioned, some as high as 50 million. Obviously, Ben White, you know, young, you know, English centre-back, recently, you know, England call-up and so forth. What are your thoughts about the links? Even a potential move or bid supposedly being reported?
I've been a big fan of this kid for a while, since I believe he played against us for Leeds in the FA Cup a few years ago when he was on loan there. And I sincerely hope he doesn't get a single game in the Euros. If he does, I hope he makes a really bad mistake, because if he does, I think his stock will go up by quite a lot. I've spent a fair bit of time. I I sort of had a look at his stats for last year, and his stats don't make great reading. It's like tackle success rate is only 53%, and he's put like 30 fouls in, but for a centre back, that's probably not a lot. But then I thought he's made 62 interceptions, so he's a player that maybe doesn't need to make a tackle. And when you watch him, his recovery, he's very quick in the recovery, and quite often he will force a mistake out of the attacker. And I remember when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Serie A with my dad. When the Italian football used to be on Channel 4. Well, you lot probably don't remember that because I'm a lot older than you. But I
remember Football Italia.
Yeah,
I grew up watching Football Italia. Yeah, man, I remember it well.
Franco Baresi. My dad always used to rave about him. And he was like, "You watch him, he never has to make a tackle," and he didn't. And I think Ben White's got that about him. But his most valuable stat for me is he did not make a single error that resulted in a goal as a centre-back for Brighton last season. And when you look at the errors that we had, we've all spoke about them at length. We know the mistakes that were made. He just looks really, really solid to me. And the other thing that struck me, every time I've seen him play, he plays like a ball-playing midfielder. When he comes out of defence, he breaks really quick. He's surprisingly fast. But he reminds me a little bit of Rio Ferdinand. When Rio was like in his prime, he was always he could have been a midfielder type defender. And he looks really accomplished on the ball. And his delivery actually is pretty decent as well. I'm a big fan. I don't know what we're getting for. Like I say, at the moment, it may be a case if we got him and Basuma for 50 between the two of them, that'd be a really, really good deal. But if he does come into the Euros and does well, then his value is going to rocket, I think, because he's still young. What's he, 23? And he's still got about 3 years on his contract, I think, at Brighton. So we may or may not. But I know it's well spoken about the amount of defenders we've got. But if you're bringing in a defender that's better than anything you've got anyway, then you offload others to make way for somebody who you can feasibly get for a decent price. So, Ben White, definitely.
Cool. Any thoughts on Ben White, Den or Lottie?
I'd have him in a heartbeat. I've said this before. I'd have him in a heartbeat. But it's a case of who, I said this earlier over on Gunner King's Court. It's a case of who do we get rid of? Do we get rid of Mavropanos? It won't be Saliba. It won't be Gabriel Mari. The only other option is, dare I say it, Holding or Mavropanos. Who's going to make more money? And after the season Mavropanos has had at Stuttgart, he's the option for me. If we did bring Ben White in.
I'm so divided on this. Like, I was literally talking about Ben White 2 days ago on when he first got announced, and I was talking on my pod chat with the host on my channel, and I said I was quite baffled the fact he went. Don't get me wrong, great player, but then all of a sudden he's in links with Arsenal, and I thought, what the bloody hell's going on? I was like, why is he randomly just in links with Arsenal? I could be wrong. Someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but last summer I'm pretty sure he was valued at 50 million. And I think it was 50 million, something stupid. But he's a very big fish in a small pond. There's Brighton can only make money off certain players. And I think Ben White's one, Basuma's the other. And we've suddenly been linked with both. But yeah, I personally think, and I said this a minute ago as well, there's bigger fish to fry with Arsenal. I think we have bigger problems than at the back. I'm quite happy if we don't sign a centre back. I'm more worried about the midfield and the attacking midfield. Yeah. Bringing that number 10, bringing that number 8, bringing that number 6, whatever. But yeah, for the money I think we'd have to pay for him, I'm sorry, I don't want him. I don't think it's worth the while. And at the moment, I'm quite confident in Gabriel Saliba and Mavropanos that we've just talked about. I'm quite confident in them at the moment. If you've got a good enough midfield, they can do a job. Even Holding, even that idiot. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'd have him in England, but
Den, careful, you're going to upset Mr. Silver Fox. That's why I didn't answer that question.
No, but I think that's this is what I said last week. I think I said this last week. This time last week, I think I was saying this. Like the last two things I'd have worried about was selling Xhaka and selling our keeper, and the third one would be a centre half.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, the third one would be the centre half. I think I'm quite happy at the moment. I think, yeah, okay, last straw. If we've got some money in the bank, buy a centre half and spend 50 mil on Ben White. Other than that, like he's a great player. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but we'd have to spend 40 mil. They're not going to sell him for cheap. Like he's just got in the Euro squad as well. Like so that's going to probably put another 10 million in.
Yeah,
especially
it makes you think, though, doesn't it? I think I had this conversation with Stephen. It makes you think because I think the links with Ben White are actually quite genuine links from the people.
Where's it all come from? Where's it all come from? Like, they get in the Euro squad. Oh yeah, we're linked with him.
But it does make you think that, you know, if the links are genuine, then and we're willing to potentially sign a defender for in the region of 30 to 50 million, then you know maybe we are going to spend big this summer. Who knows? Because as you said, then it's not a priority.
Yeah, it could be maybe the Kroenkes have realised all the fans want him out. We'll start spending big money, but I want to see bigger movements. I want to see other movements first before I see that. I want to see if we're going to spend. And I saw someone tweet this yesterday. If we're going to spend 50 mil on a centre half, I want to see like 100 mil spent on a number 10 because we've clearly got the money to do it. So
it makes sense.
We'd have to, like Lottie said, we'd have to shift like 3 people. So I don't know. I think the money would get for them. There'd be like, who would we sell? We'd probably sell Holding. What would we get for him? Maybe 8 mil. Be lucky to get that. What would we get for Chambers? Probably not even that. So, and then you're looking at very small little money we're making, and we're gonna have to build a lot of we're gonna build a lot of money for one player, and we're gonna sell about 5. So
cool. Wheezy J. Yeah, very boring game. Spain versus Sweden. So glad you're watching. So you're not bored.
Mute the telly, cannon chatter up.
That's it. We'll move on to our next player because we do have quite a few to go through. And I am gonna come to you, Den, with regards to this player. I have to be honest, it's not a player I actually knew existed. Have to be completely honest. But it's this gentleman here, Joan Jordan, midfield Spanish international who plays for Sevilla. Who is he? What does he do?
I'm so glad I got him because I know all about. I literally love. I said I think it was 2 years ago. I wanted him at Arsenal because he's young, he's fresh, and he just provides everything Arsenal need. I'm gonna throw it out there. I think if we were gonna sell Xhaka, he's quite a nice little young, cheap addition to Arsenal if we sell someone like Xhaka because he is defensive. He can also, provide something up top. He's different and he's young as well. Like he's only 25, 26, maybe 27.
26,
yeah, 26, yeah. So it's for me, why not? And that's I'm not even being horrible to Seville, but they're not doing much. Like they don't. Back in the day, they were winning Europa League and stuff like that. But right now, you haven't got to sell the European dream team. Do you get what I mean? He might just want to play in the Premier League. I would want to. If I was 26, I'd want to play there. Some point in my life, I'd want to play there. Like Premier League's the best league in the world, so it's a good option. I'm more excited about him than Neves, and I know I'm going to get thrown under the bus for saying it, but I think it'll be cheaper, and I think he might pay off more. I think he's just a great talent. I think he can do everything that we need in a midfield. I think he can do it, and I think he'll prove to be a pivotal player.
Keith, a player you've seen at all, or particularly watched? Or
I was not really aware of him. I've watched a little bit, and I was really impressed with his long range passing's amazing. He's one that could potentially, I've been banging on about this the latter part of the season, how slow we are to just move from defence to attack. So he could potentially unlock players like Pepe and Saka and just get things going. But the one thing that struck me when I'm watching him play these passes, he's got an awful lot of time on the ball.
That's what I was going to say.
And he's not going to get that.
In the Premier League, you get shut down, don't you? You get shut down a lot quicker.
You do, yeah. But I've not really seen enough of like what he's like on the ball when he's under pressure. He might be brilliant. He might be another little magician for all I know. But what I've seen of him, he looks really good. But that's the only thing I would say. I've not seen him being put under pressure.
Yeah, definitely. That was the one thing I was going to say, because I took a keen interest in watching him, and for me, I just felt as though he just seemed to get an age on the ball. He seemed to, and that's no criticism for him, because at the end of the day, you got players that got time on the ball and they still can't do nothing with it. Do you know what I mean? So
I think what Keith said's right though. Like, he looks good in like La Liga, but it's different. Premier League's different kettle. That's the problem. So you don't know. You can't judge him because you don't know what he's going to be like when he goes up against like when he comes into the big game. Like, he'll get the ball rolling, but it might stop because he's going to be up against different kind of football. Like, it's complete different football for me.
Yeah, definitely.
In the Spanish league, you can't compare the two. No way.
Well, here's a question for us. Not this one. Sorry, I just picked the wrong thing again. You know me, I'm on StreamYard for the first time. Here it is. Wheezy J, here's a question for you. Would you sell Laka and take Lukaku? Is that a trick question?
Is that a trick question?
Is that daft?
Or is that rhetorical?
Sure.
I don't mean to be rude, but is that an actual serious question?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a trick question.
Laka's worth what? 20?
Yeah.
Not even that. We won't even get 20 mil for Laka. Lukaku's different. I'm sorry, but
a different
how United sold him, I do not know. Like, the fact that he's young, strong, like, he's got everything in a striker you want. He's strong, he's fast, he's compatible. I love him. I honestly and what he did last night, just confirmed everything for me.
Yeah.
To be fair, it has actually been mentioned tonight, but what he's just brilliant. Lukaku's different. Even Everton, I don't even know why they have sold him. Like, look at where they're at now. Calvert-Lewin is great. Don't get me wrong. Probably one of the best English players we'll see. I think he will go on to be brilliant. But Lukaku is just phenomenal. Don't take him out of the Premier League, and he will come back. I think he will come back probably this summer. But he's
probably Man City.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. If I'd rather have Lukaku than Kane, because Lukaku's younger and he's shown he can do it in different leagues.
Yeah, Kane, literally.
Like I'd rather have Lukaku because he's probably got about at least 2 years more than what Kane has.
I find he's more versatile.
Thank you.
He's just an absolute beast. He's an absolute beast. I agree with you. Then
I'll be honest with you, centre half. If I was a centre half and I was up against Lukaku, I'd run the other way.
Yeah.
I just look at him. I'd think,
like yesterday, when I was watching him play yesterday, he looked like a giant on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like he looked like he was just so much bigger than everybody else. But yet he was winging everybody else out. So he's got a good
carries the team, man. Like, I'm not even being horrible to Belgium. Belgium have got a great squad, but he still stands out. He can be around any team. He can be like, look at Inter Milan. He still stands out with Martinez next to him. Like, imagine that at the front too. Martinez and Lukaku. Yeah. Disgusting.
He's frighteningly good.
Yeah.
Cool. Wicked. Well, we're going to move on to our next player, and I'm going to come to you, Lottie, for more than one reason. I'm going to say, this gentleman here, we've got Rodrigo De Paul.
Here we go. We'll be here for an hour now.
Thanks, boys.
No problem. 27-year-old Argentinian midfielder who plays for Udinese. So let's keep it clean, but tell me all about him.
In terms of football.
Yeah, give me football.
Don't worry, boys. I'm not going to fangirl him. No, I know. I absolutely adore the man. And I know he started for Argentina right now on BBC iPlayer. But, yeah, no, he's 27. He plays for Udinese. He's one of those very rare players that I see that can be the defensive midfielder, centre midfielder, attacking midfielder, as well as a second striker. I mean, he's a very special player. He just makes me smile, and the way he plays. Behave yourself, then. I mean, if he gives me that like Maradona vibes, but he ain't that good. But he's still a great talent, if that makes sense. I mean, he's definitely the standout man of the season over Udinese. He's creative. He's plays so skillfully anywhere in the midfield. Set pieces are brilliant. Long shots are fantastic. I mean, in the way he just plays, he has so much fun with it. I mean, he's had 9 goals and 10 assists this season from the midfield, which is what we are missing. I mean, we've had 3 goals from our midfield this season, 3, and 1 was an absolute worldie from El Sideways. I know that Inter are after of him, and he's interested in them as well, unfortunately. I think in terms of his flaws, he isn't the quickest, but the rest of his flaws aren't obvious to the way he plays. I think if I could compare him to an Arsenal player, I don't think I could. Because we haven't had a player like him in such a long, long time. But if I was going to compare him to somebody else, it would be probably Alvaro Recoba over at Inter. It's the nearest one I actually can do, but he's a player that wants to get the fans on their feet. He wants to entertain as well as play ball. And we've been missing that for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, for me, he just...
And the most important fact is he turned down Spurs last summer.
Oh,
he's
quality.
got to sign him.
He's a gooner.
Yep.
But no, honestly, he is, I know of him, and, I know he's a quality player, but I tell you, he just looks like one of those players. I can't quite understand why a lot of other big teams are not sniffing around him, because he just he looks like he has everything, like literally moving forward, like in terms of pace, in terms of quick feet, in terms of mixing up the play. I just thought to myself, like, we need to sign this guy now, and I'm not sure why, your Barca's, your Madrids and those teams are not sniffing around him. But from what I've seen, he's absolutely fantastic, and I would more than welcome him, in an Arsenal shirt. I don't know if you two, Den and Keith, have seen much of him or think he's a player that Arsenal should be signing at this point.
Do you want to go first, Tom, Dan?
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, mate. Yeah. I mean, I think selling Torreira and Guendouzi and players like that, we need something like this. We need something different. We need something. We need. I don't even know how to call it, but we just need a different. Something special. Oh yeah. Like I think with the defenders we got at the moment, and the midfielders, the midfielders are good. Don't get me wrong. Like I like Xhaka, even Xhaka. He's probably on his way up, but even him, Partey, he's good. We've not seen his full flesh yet. So we still got something to see from him. But we need someone that can provide both areas. And I think DePaul, is it DePaul? Is that how you, or is it DePaul?
I think it's DePaul.
It is DePaul, isn't it? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it DePaul or DePaul?
DePaul. No, it's DePaul.
Well, Lottie would know. Lottie's probably search up
I'm
his
fangirling over here, big time.
Yeah. Lottie's seen where he got married and stuff like that.
Oh no, I'm not that extreme. Be serious.
No, but I think he's pivotal. He can come in and be really pivotal to this side. I think he'll add a new dimension which we need. And we've needed for years since we lost players like Wilshere, Ramsey. We've needed someone to just come in and provide something different. I think he'll do that. But yeah, it all depends on money. Again, I'm going to say it again. It all depends on money, because they're not going to sell him for cheap. And this is a team that really doesn't have much great to lose. So
if I'm completely honest with you, they need to milk every single penny out of whoever buys him.
Yeah,
he is literally so central.
It all depends, like
a part of the team.
Yeah, he's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of talks in there. Like a lot of people saying about, what do we do with Odegaard? If I was going to do anything, he'll probably be cheaper than Odegaard, so I'd go for him.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'd go for because he can play a little bit more defensively as to what Odegaard can bring in the team. But yeah, I like him. I mean, I've got a FIFA career mode going at the moment, and he was the first person I signed, so that says it all. So you haven't got to really answer my question. I'm not on Notty's level. Like I'm not going to marry the guy or anything like that.
Not that extreme. Jeez, come on.
No.
I like him.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, but he is. I think he's everything we need, and I hope I'm not bigging him up too much because I'd like to think that he can live up to that expectation. But he had something different, and I think we've needed, like Lottie and like Keith said, we've needed that for probably about 2 or 3 years now since Ramsey and players like that left. Like people talking, we spoke last week about Ramsey coming back to the team. And it's like, no, there's bigger fish out there. Let's go hunt. Like let's go hunt for them and get them. And yeah, he's someone I'd like to see. Not even just at Arsenal, even if he didn't come up. I hope he don't go bloody Tottenham. I like how he looks, man. He just brings something different to the table, and it's so enjoyable to watch. From what I've seen from him, anyway.
Cool. Keith, any thoughts on Rodrigo?
I would take this bloke in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I don't know how much it's going to cost us, but it's like he seems to. I mean, he's played for Udinese. I don't know where they finished in the league, but like he's been directly involved in 19 goals this season in Serie A, and we all know like goals they're not easy to come by in the Italian league. But he seems to be the heartbeat of this team, and you watch him like the way he's winding the crowd up, the passion he's got. Like he scores a penalty and he goes absolutely like Stuart Pearce 96, like psycho. And it's like, that's the sort of player I want. My only prerequisite is that our players are much, much better than me, but care as much as I do. And you look at someone like that and you think, like Lottie correctly said, he's weighing in with goals and assists and he cares. I'd take him. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I
might not play him because he's better looking. You know what he did with Pablo Mari and all that. But I'd go for him definitely.
Brilliant. So yeah, pretty unanimous. Like I said, I think we're all singing from the same hymn sheet there with regards, Rodrigo. I think he's top-notch player. So moving on, we'll stay with you, Keith, with regards the next linked player, and we have Nicolo Barella, Inter Milan, Italian midfielder, who I had the joy of watching on Friday night play in the Italy game. So yeah, let us know your thoughts with regards to this player.
We do not have a chance in hell of signing this lad. If we did, I'm fairly certain he probably wouldn't stick around that long. He's amazing. I don't see anything that's wrong with his game. He seems to do everything really, really well. And I think price-wise, he's way out of our league. The last thing I saw is 60 million, but I'm fairly certain he's going to have a pretty amazing tournament. And I look at him play and I think in 10 years' time, you may well be looked at the same way as Pirlo is looked at now when he played. And I could sit there and watch him play all day. Everything looks really easy. And he's tough as well. He's not very big, but he's tough. And some of the stuff I've seen of him, the people that he's knocking off the ball, like with ease. And I just think, I'd love us to have the money to buy a player like that, but also to be able to keep them and not have to fight off Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona every summer. But I think he's probably we're not at that level at the moment to be able to attract him. And he's just won the Italian title with Inter. He's playing in the Euros. He's probably not going to go anywhere. And if he does, they're probably going to want it in excess of 100 million for him. Realistically, he's 23 years old. He's 4 or 5 years off hitting his peak yet.
Yeah, we're really in a difficult. It's funny because we're getting linked with all these players, and I think like just touching on something you said there, I think sometimes I look at it and I think to myself, okay, that's a realistic target, and then you see a player like this, and obviously like you said, he's just won Serie A. He's young. He seems to have everything in his locker in terms of a midfield player. And then, he obviously puts on a performance like that at Friday night. And by the looks of it, Italy are going to go pretty far at the Euros by the looks of it. And you just think to yourself, realistically, with no European football finishing, 10th or 9th it was, I can't even remember now, in the Premier League, like what real incentive would a player like him at this stage of his career, have to come to Arsenal when let's face it, we're part of a rebuild, like we're a project, and a player like him, he can just walk into a team that's kind of ready made. So that's my thoughts on it. I love him in terms of like what I've seen and the quality he possesses, but I just can't see it being a realistic target for us. What do you guys think, Lottie, and then about Barella?
I completely echo what you've just said, G. I mean, I haven't seen him really play. From what I saw from the Turkey game, I really enjoyed watching him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah. But in terms of a target, it just doesn't seem realistic, does it? As much as it can happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, he's, like he said, he's not hit his peak yet. I mean, I think, is he with Inter? I think he's with Inter Milan.
Yeah, Inter Milan, yeah.
They're not going to let him go for peanuts. And at the moment, what we're looking at, we've got peanuts to spend, and that's it.
The only, you know what though, the only thing, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this then, the only thing that makes me think that a transfer away from Inter Milan is quite realistic is because of all the mess with, who was their manager before that walked? Was it Mancini? Conte. For some reason, I don't know how true
it is. Now linked with Spurs.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Yeah, but the rumors is that they're in like dire financial straits. And they're in serious debt, and they need to basically. There's rumors that they're going to be selling quite a few of their top players, like Lukaku, Barella. Quite a few of their star players this season are going to be sold. So I think a move away from Inter Milan is realistic. I just don't think it's very realistic that we will. But yeah,
I think yes. I think like he just said, and like you were just saying a minute ago about the finishing in 10th place. No European football. So realistically, he's going to look at it and he's think, look, I've just won Serie A. Like, I've just won Serie A and I'm going to go and play FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Premier League. Like, let's be realistic. He's not. He doesn't want that. He leads by example, and which I like about him. For a 24-year-old, I think he does. Like, he really shows a bit of grit, and that's what we want in someone. Like, for the little player he is, I think he's like 4 foot. Obviously, he's not 4 foot, but he has a bit of grit about him for someone that what he is, and I like him. He's a good little player, but he's out of reach. He's way there. Like he's somewhere far away, and Arsenal are just watching him fly. We're way out of our league. I'm sorry to say it, but the inevitable.
But as Arsenal fans, I think it's not
fair play. If we get him fair play, but I just think he's completely out of our league.
You know what? For me, it's not negative. It's just being realistic.
Yeah.
When you actually look at like what he's accomplished as a player, the age of him, and given the situation at Inter Milan, they're looking to probably offload him because of their financial situation, but a player of that quality and what it looks like, the kind of tournament he's going to have. In terms of, I know they say when Arsenal knock, it's a different knock, but listen, he's going to get a lot of knocks.
I mean, Euros will just make him higher as well. Euros will probably put like 20 million.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So yeah. So we're going to move on because we still got a couple of players to get through, and we've still got to cover some of the potential outgoings. But if you are still with us and you are still watching, thank you. Please do hit the like, subscribe button, and also put in any kind of comments. Keep them coming. I'm managing to kind of stay so far up to date with them, so I think I'm doing all right. Give me a little thumbs up or a little emoji to let me know how I'm doing in the chat, guys. Give me some support here. But yeah, I'm going to move on to a gentleman called Manor Solomon. Plays for Shakhtar Donetsk. Is a 21-year-old Israeli winger. So Den, tell me about this guy.
Yeah, I mean,
we want to see at Arsenal.
This is another one. He can play on the right wing. He can play in the number 10. So I think for the price, for the price, like we've just spoke about how we're realistically not in a position to be spending 80 million. So he's an ideal character for the team, but I don't know, because it depends where we're going to play him. I think it all depends on where we're going to play him. I think if he's going to be a number 10, then yeah, it's nice to see him come in. But I'm pretty confident from what I've seen of him and what I've read of him, his main position is right wing, and I think that's just adding fuel to fire, because we've already got Pepe. I get Williams not being great, and with Saka can play there. I mean, let's be real. Any winger we've got can play right wing. If you can play left wing, you can play right wing. That's what I've established. So I just think we need someone that is fine in that number 10 role, like that is used to that number 10 role. I think if we're gonna, if it's cheap then fair, let's sign him. He's a great player. Like he seems to be. He has the ability to. He's got pace, which I like, and he can provide. He can provide the ball. Like he can add to the end product sort of thing. But I think we need someone that's going to be a natural number 10, not someone that is better off on the out wide, because we've got enough players there at the moment, and we're not even seeing. We spoke about this last week. Martinelli's not even getting in the team. And Pepe, it'd be the worst time to start seeing him on the bench. Next season's massive for him. I want to see him in the team every single weekend. I hope we do as well, because I think he'll easily be our top scorer if he is. I think once we get the team sorted out, he's going to be probably right up there. Over even if we sign a striker, I think he will be right up there. But I feel like I'm being too harsh on him, so I'm going to say he's a good player. He has all the ability, but I want someone that's actually a natural centre attacking, a natural cam, because he just seems to do what Pepe can do, and I don't like that. I want someone that can do a little bit more in the middle. It's tricky. I actually feel like I'm being too harsh, because I like the guy. Like I like Solomon, but I just think he plays out wide, but he can play in the middle. That's my problem. I just think we need to sign someone that, like, I'm not saying Odegaard, but we need to sign someone that is a cam only. Stick him in that position, because we've been waiting for that for years. So if we just sign someone that can play out wide and play as a number 10, we might as well put Pepe in there. Do you get what I mean? Like we might as well just chuck him. So it's annoying, but it's annoying that he's not, because he is a good player, and he'd probably be cheap as well. But I don't think it'd be a lot of money, because I mean where we play. I don't know what it is out there, but who he's playing for at the moment, I can't imagine they'd ask for too much from him. Do you get what I mean? Because
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah, like it's not a team that they're not going to need £16 million. Do you get what I mean? They'd probably ask for like 25 maybe. So it'd be a waste maybe to not sign him. But I think it's just I think it's adding fuel to the fire. Pepe and Alba and Saka at 10, No, I don't like Saka at 10. I don't like the idea of it. He'll probably get injured and be out for like 2 seasons. Saka
Don't say that.
No, but Saka at 10.
Don't say that.
Saka at 10. No, I'm not a fan of it. It's a nice idea. That sounds. I don't like the idea of Saka in the middle. He played well at centre mid. Like when we see him play at centre mid, he played well, but. No, behind the striker, I've got a really bad feeling. I could be wrong, but I think that the inevitable will happen if we play Saka in the middle.
You know what it is with me? I'm really split. You know, when we're actually linked with wingers, because I agree with you to a certain extent. Then that as the seasons kind of progressed, we've seen kind of the worst and the best of Pepe, but what we saw was almost like a journey of his Arsenal career, and it's almost like for Pepe, you just didn't want the season to end, because he just seemed to kind of get into his rhythm.
Almost our top scorer. Like people slandered him all season. He was what, 2 goals off being
one away, 2 away,
one away, one goal away from being our top scorer. And I saw people saying we should sell him this season. We haven't even paid for him yet. We haven't even paid for him. We haven't actually paid for him yet. Like, we're still paying for him, and you're saying sell him for 30 mil. Sod off. Like we haven't even paid for the guy, and you're saying sell it now. The best is yet to come. Definitely, 100%.
But then on the other side, I'm thinking, we've got Saka, who, obviously we don't want him to burn out, but he will need games. And I'm not completely convinced about having Martinelli on the left. So I kind of thought, well, look, if Willian's going, then there could potentially be, space for him on the left. But in terms of, Lottie and Keith, like, what do you think in terms of, do we need another winger moving forward into next season?
Can I go first, Lottie?
No, you go first.
Okay. Personally, no. I don't think we do. My main reason, and I'm
awake. My light's still in my eyeballs.
I'm probably biased with my my feelings for the Hale End boys here and for Martinelli. I don't want to see their development get stifled. And I don't see any point to. I mean, Solomon looks good. He reminds me a little bit of like a Mo Salah that got bought by Chelsea all them years ago. The way he carries the ball is very similar. But I just, unless he's an amazing player, I don't see any point to getting another winger in. And totally agree with what Den was saying with Pepe at the end of the season, and what you said as well, G. It's almost like the season was a picture postcard of his Arsenal journey so far, and he's moved so far. Last game of the season, I captained him in my fantasy league team, which I never would have done before, and I got about 80 points that week, which was pretty sweet. But I'm veering from the point here. I wouldn't get another winger.
Okay. And Lottie, would do you see room for a winger within this squad, or do you think that is a position within the team that we can kind of just move forward with what we've got? And obviously, coming on to Wheezy J's question, I'll give you first dibs on that as well. How many really? Obviously, we're talking about all these players being linked. We know, we've spoken about it before, and we've said that we want to get rid of 60% of the team, which is unrealistic. So, what are your thoughts on a potential winger coming in, and how many players realistically do you see us getting this window?
I think I'm going to side with the boy, all of you, and just say, the side with Keith and say it's a solid no. I think we're fine with what we've got, even if the wonderful Willian, I mean that with the greatest sarcasm, departs. I think we can grow on what we've got. But there's also a case of looking at their age. And we do need potentially someone to come in that has the experience. It might not be Solomon. I'm not sure how old he is. But it might be someone else with the
he's
experience.
He's actually quite young.
I thought 22.
21, 22,
yeah. He's not much older than Saka, So I think Pepe's a lot older than that as well. So we need someone that's a bit more experienced if we were going to do it. But for me, right now, it's a no.
Okay, cool.
In terms of Weezy's question, it depends how much dead weight we shift. It's going to take at least 3 windows. I know me and G we've said this before. It's going to take this summer, the winter, and then next summer before I feel we can compete again. I mean, Roma are trying to undercut us, offering 40 million euros for Xhaka. No, that's just unacceptable, especially after the Switzerland game and the way he played. So, no, it depends who we get rid of. I mean, I know obviously Torreira wants to go. Guendouzi's fingers crossed he's off. Willian's off. I'd say at least 5 in total, I reckon. At least 5 this window. Yeah, we hope.
It's crazy because, like, for me, I feel like before the window opened, there was a lot of momentum in terms of, like, potential players leaving and being offloaded. But I don't know whether I'm just being a little bit anxious too soon. But I just feel as though, particularly the departures, they're just not happening quick enough for me at the moment. And I'm just a little bit worried that, with the lack of activity in terms of departures, this is going to have a real massive domino effect on what we can actually do in terms of bringing players in. So, I don't know how you guys are generally feeling, but I'm trying to enjoy the Euros, but I'm very much distracted also by what's going on at Arsenal, and I'm just thinking, come on, like, but it's going to be difficult because obviously the players are representing their country. I know we can work remotely now, but I just feel as though things are not happening as quickly as I would have liked. With regards, departures. But we'll talk about departures after our last player that we're gonna cover in terms of incomings. And again, you know what, this player is somebody that I wasn't massively familiar with, but at the same time, I kind of knew of the name, and to be honest, at this stage, I can't really say much about this player. So I'll kind of open it up to you guys in terms of what you know about this player. Alexander Isak, apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He plays for Real Sociedad. He's a Swedish striker, 21-year-old.
He should have scored this evening. Sorry.
I didn't see the game. Did you watch it?
I watched the first half. It came off the post. He should have scored for Sweden against Spain.
Okay. So he's not clinical then.
No,
to be fair, what I've seen of him is clinical. Like, he does look like a good addition. He does look like a good acquisition for the team, but he'd be a good Aubameyang replacement. I'd want to see him in like 3-4 years sort of thing, because him and Aubameyang are just, I wouldn't like to see the two of them, because it's just adding, I said like a minute ago, it's adding fuel to the fire. We need to get rid of Aubameyang. Lacazette, we brought him in. Who the hell's playing? If Lacazette goes, then fair, but I also think him and I think he would provide more than the Aubameyang potentially. I haven't seen tonight's game. I don't know how well he played tonight, but from what I've seen of him in for Real Sociedad, he looks good. He's got a bit of pace about him. What I don't like about Aubameyang, and I don't mean to go on him because this is not about him, but is that he doesn't do much more than finishing. I think Isaac does a little bit more than that. Like, that's the difference, where that could potentially be a benefit to what we have right now. Because I think when Aubameyang is not scoring, he's quite silent. I don't miss him, and I know that sounds absolutely horrible, but when he's not on the score sheet, I couldn't care less if he's there, and that sounds absolutely horrible because it's our captain and whatever, and he's, we all shouted last year we want a new contract, but you could put another player in his position. I don't think there's much more sort of that they would give or he would give. But yeah, I like the look of him. But at the moment, there's more important issues to address. But yeah, he's fast. He's young. He's tall. And he's got everything in his locker. Like, he can finish. He knows where to put the ball, and not just that. Like I just touched on, he can also be a bit of a provider. So yeah, but it's probably out of reach again. I think he'll stay at Real Sociedad, and he'll probably go on to somewhere like, I don't know, Liverpool maybe. Until we're back in that Champions League, Europa League spot at least. We're not getting anyone of that talent, because he's too good. He's too good. He's too good for him to just settle for us. We're talking at least 2-3 years until we get in the sort of market that he's going to be in.
Okay, Keith, what's your thoughts on this kid?
Pretty much echo what Den's just said, really. I mean, he looks the beans, to be honest, and also his set piece is pretty decent. I was quite surprised at how quick he is and how skillful he is for the size of him. Look at him, he's got to be like 6'2" at least. I think he banged about 17 goals in last season in probably 30 odd games. But yeah, he's probably a little bit out of our league. He will probably stay at Real Sociedad, and if he has another season next season like he's just had, you'll probably end up seeing him in Barcelona or Real Madrid's colours, I would imagine. We would, some of the comments in the chat there, we'd have to get rid of probably Laka and Orba, because I think this kid's probably got the potential to be as good if you could merge Aubameyang and Lacazette together, like Den said, Aubameyang's goal scorer. That's kind of it. And if he's not scoring goals, he's not really doing a lot more. Whereas Lisa Flacker's having a bad game and he's missed a couple of sitters, he's still putting a shift in. He's still bringing other players into the game. His approach play is good. And I think Alexander Isaac, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, he could potentially be as good as those two merged. But same as Barella earlier, I think he's a bit beyond us at the moment, if I'm being realistic.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I have to be honest, I knew the name, but I didn't know much about him as a player. I think the name came up quite a few times when I'm playing Championship Manager. But in terms of what I saw, because looking at being an Arsenal fan, you have to constantly look up players, because we're constantly being linked to players. But from what I saw, I have to echo what both of you said, but particularly what you said, Keith, in terms of just what he can actually do. For he's a big lad, he's a tall lad, but he seems to be able to do everything well in terms of hold up play. He seems to be rapid. He seems to have good feet, and he doesn't seem to be that kind of dare I say it, a little bit, I don't know, dare I say it, a little bit like Henry from some of the clips that I saw, just in terms of just kind of being able to kind of go past players, kind of cut in and curl it in the top corner. He just looks as though he's got a lot of potential. He's already a really good player, but it just looks like his ceiling in terms of potential, what he could go on to be as a player, is really high. And I think if we're gonna have a chance of getting him, I think it would be now. Would probably be the best time to get hold of him, because I think within another season or two, I think he'll be completely out of our league. Considering what he's going to do, but it'd be interesting to see where his future does lie. Whether he does move on, this summer, or whether he gives it another season at Real Sociedad. But yeah, I think quite unanimous that he is a player that we would like to see. But I think similarly to Barella, maybe potentially out of our reach. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to two of our potential. Or two of our players that probably look maybe the most likely to leave the club, and it's one of our favourite players.
You ready, Lottie?
Stephen, where are you in the comments? And I put this picture up. I've put this picture up like that because it's just what's going on? What's going on with this whole situation? Because it looked as though it was done and dusted. He was, Mourinho's into him. Roma, won him. Mourinho's now at Roma. And it seemed as though it was a done deal. And over the last kind of day or so, it seems as though personal terms are not an issue. But what the real issue is the actual fee between Roma and Arsenal. So will he leave this window, or will we have to endure another season of Xhaka? And I'm just going to open it up to you guys.
Please no, he needs to go. I've had enough. He's had 2 good half seasons. Yeah, no, I'm going to start. I'm going to start then.
Here we go. Here we go.
I am going to quote Stephen on this. I believe he'd trade him for a packet of Monster Munch and a Twix or a Mars bar, one of the two. I can't quite remember that one. G, correct me if I'm wrong, because we were talking about this earlier. But he's had 2 good half seasons, which totals in 1 out of 5. He's had jibes. I think I tweeted a picture of him. Quoting him, "You're only good as your team." And to me, that was a bit of a kick in the teeth after the season he's had. It's like, how dare you? Goodbye, get out the door.
Let's not forget these are the players who effectively voted for him to be captain.
My problem is this. People hate him for the wrong reason. People are not hating him because of his football. They're hating him because of things he says and his personality.
Yeah, but I really hate him for his football.
On the field, he's probably been one of the best players this season. And for 15 million, I'm not selling him. Not when we've got El Neni and Ceballos. Ceballos is gone, so we can't even have that crap on the field. But not when I'm not being horrible, but he got put on left back for how many games? And we showed it. It proved how much we missed of him. It proved what he can actually do. And I said it last week on this channel. I'm pretty sure I said it last week. He and the goalkeeper thing would be the last things I'd be worrying about. No, there's far bigger fish to fry.
There is.
Really. We could be here all night, but I'm sorry. There was so much more work to do than selling Xhaka and buying a goalkeeper. And if that's the first 2 things we do, Arteta goes out the door for me, and so does Edu. The whole lot. I'd throw the whole thing in the bag. And
you know what you meant, Stephen.
Keep it keep it outside. Nah, I'm sorry, but there's too much work to do to be selling Jack and for 15 million. What's the point? Who are we going to replace him with for 15 million?
To be honest with you, they offered us 14 million euros. That's not even.
It's not even
acceptable.
15, it's like 12. It's like 12 million pounds. Who can we get with 12 mil? We end up with another El Neni. We might as well just get El Neni's brother and just play them two at the back, like in the midfield for the whole season. I don't get who.
Hey, leave my El sideways away. He only scores worldies. Let's get that straight. Yeah.
This is what makes me laugh at you. Like you go on about El sideways and then you call out Granit, who's been.
Do you know what? I know.
He's been our best player this season. Midfielder easily. He's been our best midfielder easily by a mile. And he played left back. He even played left back and showed a job. Yeah, I get. He told the fans to F off. I get that. Fair, but let's move on. Let's go.
I didn't mention that, but okay. I don't even care about that. I don't like him.
I'm talking.
Let's get that straight. But go on. Say what you got to say.
The fans called him out. No, this isn't. This is mostly for the fans that call him out. Like, because he'll leave and he'll get. Everyone will be like, "There's the door. See you later." And then next summer, next year, next season, when we haven't replaced him, they're going to completely swallow their words because it'll be like, we sold you for 12 mil and who have we bought? Nobody, because you can't buy anyone for 12 mil. Who would we buy for 12 mil? I can't name a midfielder right now would get for 12 mil anyway. Like I wouldn't even bother selling someone for 12 mil. It's not worth it. No. So I think there's a lot more to what he does, to what people see. I think they just think about too much about what goes on, all the documented problems outside. I think they look at that, but they don't actually see what he does on the field. I think he brings a different element to the game, defensively and even up top. Like that game against Chelsea, one of our best games last season when we won 3-0. Not just the free kick he scored, but he had a real big impact in the game on Boxing Day. I think it was Boxing Day. Yeah, we won. And he was brilliant. He was brilliant. Like he was one of the best players. So he isn't getting Arsenal forward. He should be a squad player in this team. Yeah. See, I don't think anyone wants him left, but I don't know.
It's a hard one. Key for you. Obviously, it looks as though he is going to be sold this summer. But is he worth holding on for next season? And if we are actually going to sell him, which it looks like, what's his price tag in your opinion? How much is he worth?
I think like Dan, like you said just now, if it's going to be like 14 euros or 12 million, it's probably not worth it. Like he could be a squad player. Regarding the big problem I've got at the moment is the comments that he made a little while ago about you're as good as your team was very derogatory towards his teammates, and these are the same teammates that Unai Emery allowed to vote him in as our club captain, so that probably goes a long way. I'm not even bothered about what he said to the fans at the Crystal Palace game, because in the cold light of day, the stuff that has been said about his family, I'd have done much worse than just going, "What a new lot," But I can see it stringing out until the very last minute. This one,
seriously,
if it's not Roma, it'll be someone else. And that's kind of what we've got to do. That's what Lottie was saying earlier. We're looking at 3 windows because ideally, we'd have sold everyone we wanted to sell before the Euros happened, but it was never going to happen this year. So it's going to play out for a long, long time, and it has to for us to get the price we want. If we just start selling people and panic selling, then everyone's going to know what our game is. Everyone's going to rinse us, and we'll end up having £4.25 to get a decent central midfielder. It's like, well, let's go B&M and get a central midfielder. So I can see it going right up to the wire, and it'll be one of those Sky News transfer deadline day specials, I think.
I reckon he'll stay. I don't even think he's going to. I reckon he'll
end up.
Yeah, well, the way things are looking, it potentially looks like he may well stay. And moving on to and obviously we have been live for an hour and 40 minutes. We have one more player in terms of outgoings, and then we can kind of wrap things up. And again, I'm kind of just open it up to the whole team here in terms of Ainsley, Maitland-Niles. Now, there was some interesting quotes that came out over in the past kind of week And he was kind of quoted as saying that he's looking for clarity with regards to his future. He also hinted that there hadn't been much contact between him and the Arsenal staff or Arteta throughout his kind of loan spell or since the season's ended. Just your thoughts on, I think he is a player that we have spoken about, but just your thoughts on whether or not he's a player, we should definitely be selling, this window, because we do talk about versatility a lot, and he is definitely a player that can play in, multiple positions. But also, he's a Hale End boy. He's, I believe, there have been occasions when he's really kind of stepped up to the plate, in high pressure situations. But yeah, what are your thoughts in terms of just his future? But also, interestingly enough, the quotes that came out about him needing clarity about his future and kind of hinting that communication between him and the Arsenal staff have not been as good as he probably would have liked.
It's not surprising though, is it? I mean, for me, I think he's just had 1 year too many at Arsenal. I think he needs to sort of. I don't mean to be rude to him. He's like, everyone goes on about his penalties and stuff like that. Like he's not a bad egg, but I think for him it's better off if he just moves on, because I can't see him being even at West Brom. Like, yeah, he was sort of. He was good, but he wasn't amazing.
Yeah,
and I'd say mediocre.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I think that tells you a little thing. Like maybe you're not going to get any Arsenal. And if we're looking forward, which we spoke about this like last week, I think me, Lottie, and Stephen, we need to be moving forward. He is one thing we need to get rid of, because no disrespect to him, he's great. But he's not a centre midfielder, and I certainly don't want him being our first choice right back. So, and we brought in Cedric. To me, that was a sign that Maitland-Niles isn't going to be a right back. Because we had Chambers, we had Bellerin, and at the time I think we had someone else as well. I can't even remember, but I think it's best off him if he just moves on, and he's at the right age. He's at the right age to get rid of him. I can't see any position for him in the team. And I get he's flexible, like you just spoke about him being versatile. I don't see where he fits in right now, even as a squad player. I think there's too much competition there at the moment. And if we're going to go and have the big window that we talk about having, where does he fit? The money for him is not even an issue, like, because he's just been on loan to a team that just got relegated. So let's be real, we're not going to get much for him. But I think for him, it's even best. He's probably sitting there wanting to move because he's probably thinking, I'm looking at this team. It's another Nketiah situation. Like, I think his time's just run out.
Well, I've heard rumours that Eddie's been offered a new deal.
No.
No, that was on Twitter. That was
Wouldn't even surprise.
Brizio tweeted that today.
No, he's meant to be
He's probably sat there signing a contract right now.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna double check, but I'm sure before I came on the live today, I actually saw Fabrizio Romano, whatever his name is, say that he's been offered a deal over in the last couple of days, and I just
number 9. He'll probably get a number 9 shirt. Laka will leave, and he'll get the
come on, man. I just thought surely that's because they may fear that he won't leave this summer, and that's just to protect his value. But correct me if I'm wrong, but after the show, head over to Fabrizio's Twitter page, and I'm sure that's what he tweeted.
I think I want it. That'll put me to sleep. Eddie, oh no,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, so Lottie and Keith, any last thoughts on Ainsley?
I've got a few. You got any? You go first.
I just think he needs. Oh, thank you, Keith. Such a gentleman. I think he does need to go. I mean, he knows where he wants to play, and I think comments from Big Sam have said, "You play where you get told to be played." And the way the team is now, he's not going to get to play where he wants to play. For me, so it's a definite at the door. You've had your time.
Yeah.
Sayonara.
I think I mean every player's got an idea of where they want to play. You know, like when you're a kid in the playground, I'm a centre forward. I want to play up front. But I think he's been really silly. He's a decent right back, and you know, apparently Wolves came in with 20 million for him last summer, and we knocked it back. He's the sort of player that would have a decent career somewhere like that. But as a central midfielder, just you know, he's probably looking at Championship at the very, very best if he really wants to be a central midfielder.
He's dug his own grave. He has dug his own grave.
He really has. Yeah.
He's asking to play in a role where you only get like right back. I'm not saying it's easier, but you have a bit of a easier maybe situation to get in. Whereas centre midfield is so important. It's such a pivotal role, and he's not equipped. He's not equipped for that whatsoever.
You're absolutely right there. I've played both positions, and right back is an awful lot easier than playing in the middle of the park. That's just full on. And you know, the people that do it are amazing. A lot of the players we spoke about tonight, but I think he's been a bit daft, and it's time for him to go.
Keith, I'm sorry to confirm, Fabrizio did tweet it this evening.
Ryan Allison,
but West Ham, Watford, and Crystal Palace were interested. Why couldn't we just sell him?
Yeah. So
I can only think what G said. Maybe it's to protect his value. You know, they all do that. So hopefully that's it. And we sell him about 2 weeks later.
Yeah. It's still an opportunity to be bought. So all good. Fingers crossed.
Well, so that pretty much wraps up all the, and I know we've probably missed out a couple, but we'll be back obviously next Monday, as we are always weekly for our Rumour Mill shows. But that pretty much wraps up the incomings, wraps up the potential outgoings. But before we kind of, just go on to, letting you guys know what's happening for the rest of the week in terms of Calendar Chatter TV, and before we go for our socials, just want to obviously take the time to just send Christian Eriksen and his family all our best wishes. I actually didn't watch the game. I was busy barbecuing for the family at this time when the game was going ahead. But it's funny because my cousin arrived, and he's an actual Spurs fan. And he said to me, he's like, "Did you watch the game? Did you hear about Eriksen?" And I said, "No." I said, I hadn't heard. And I hadn't even been on my phone much because I was kind of busy entertaining. But I kind of caught up on it, spoke to Lottie, spoke to Stephen, and it's really, really sad. It's really, really unfortunate. And it's really, really scary. And what it does when things like this happen is it just puts life into perspective. Football is a game that we all love. And regardless of, what team you support, what nation you're from, we're all human beings. And I think what it really resonates for me is just how precious life is. So, we're really, really grateful that he received the medical attention that he did. Because from what I've read, his heart actually did stop and he did have a cardiac arrest, but he was brought back pretty quickly. So thank God for the medical staff and for all those that assisted him in saving his life. And the good news is that he is conscious. He's managed to spend some time with his family and spend some time with his teammates, etc. But there is also a massive doubt whether or not he will play again, given the circumstances. So we just want to say from Calendar Chatter TV, from me personally, Stephen, and I know I can talk on you guys' behalf. We just want to say to Christian Eriksen and his family, all our best wishes. We hope that he makes a full speedy recovery, and we hope that he does play again, because he is a fantastic footballer. I just wanted to make that message very clear from our perspective. But thank you guys.
Sorry, G, can I add one more thing onto that?
Of course, no problem.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate Anthony Taylor for his quick decision making. I have absolutely slated that man all season, and for him to make that snap decision in that moment, I just want to say well done. I mean, we saw his decision making at the Palace game, didn't we, boys? So for him to do that on another scale, it is also credits due where it's due for him.
It's different situations where like everyone talks about the Moamba situation, but that was new. That was a new light. Yeah, that was a new light because it was all in front of you. And I think it was built up worse to what it was built up to be what it was. Whereas before the Moamba situation, no one really knew what sort of happened. Whereas that you could tell everything going on. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's upsetting talking about it, isn't it?
It's
a sad one.
Yeah. No, I remember when the picture of him being okay was released. I was sitting there in tears. I couldn't believe it. Do you know what? I will state the BBC for this. The fact that the cameraman was zooming in on everything did not help anybody. Any of the fans were watching wherever they were, even in the ground, even his girlfriend or his wife. It didn't help. And I personally think that person should lose their job for that.
Yeah, I thought when that was unfolding, it's like this, regardless of who he's played for, how much money he's got in the bank, he's got kids, he's got mum and dad, and they shouldn't be seeing that.
He's got a baby as well, isn't he? Yeah, he's got a new baby.
Yeah.
When they grow up, they could potentially watch that on YouTube.
Well, that's probably going to be his legacy now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not something I want to search. Like he's got a father that's just won Inter Milan, Serie A, all this stuff, and the first thing he'll probably see on YouTube if he searches the name is that.
That'll be the first thing that comes up. Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
it's bad.
But yeah, like I said, and I think we can all agree. We hope he makes a full recovery. Thank God, like I said, his life was saved, and hopefully we'll see him, grace the pitch very soon. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's been a great show, guys. Really loved having you on. Thank you for everybody who has tuned in. Lottie, are you going to do what I usually do and go through the socials?
Yeah, I can. Guys, if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can find us on Cannon Chatter, or on Instagram, Cannon_Chatter. On Twitter, you can follow our main account, which is Cannon Chatter, or you can follow Stephen on SB Cannon Chatter. Cannon Chatter, sorry guys. Sorry, Stephen. Or you can follow G on G Talks Arsenal, or you can come and follow me on Lottie_B. That's with 2 I's. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications and hit that like button.
And to our very special guests, Keith and Den, let the guys know where they can follow and keep up to date with all your tweets and what you got going on.
Yeah, first then, yours is way bigger than mine.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far, mate. But yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, if you want to follow me privately, my name is Dennis Catley. I've seen there. You can go and follow me. But yeah, I talk a bit about football on Sideline Talk podcast. Yeah, we're fairly small, but I like to think we got something good going. Yeah, me, a couple other lads. We got Euros content every Thursday. So this Thursday we'll be talking about. We'll basically be going over what we have tonight, really, about the Croatia game, and we'll be talking about Scotland, which is the next day. And yeah, we got some other stuff coming up, like transfer doors and stuff like that. But yeah, if you like what you've heard tonight, come and give us a little follow. But yeah,
thank you for having me on. I follow Den, so please do subscribe. It's great shows. Always a good laugh as well.
Cool.
I love that. But yeah. Thank you for having me on again, guys. It's been great as last week. And gee, it's good to be on with you. And I hope you had I hope your little Ellen had a good little birthday last week. But yeah, it's been a great show again. I'm looking forward to doing more and more with you guys. Looking forward to the quiz.
Definitely. Take on G is going to make a comeback very soon.
I think that might be Sideline V's Cannon, actually, G. We were talking about it last week. Coming soon, Den's organising it. So I think Cannon's got this one in the bag, though. We've got it.
I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. But yeah, just a couple of thank yous as well. So just want to shout out Martin at Guns Force Edits for an amazing job that he did and he continues to do with regards to our graphics and our overlays. They just seem to get better and better each time. Absolutely love the Three Lions road to Wembley, so thank you, massive shout out to you, to our 2 sponsors, the matchdayshop.com and Sport Bucket Hat. Massive thanks for you for your continued support, and most importantly for everybody who stayed tuned we've been on the air now for an hour and 58 minutes, and you guys have, stuck with us, the whole time, through both halves of the show. So massive thank you to you guys. We will be back this Friday, very interestingly enough as well, because we're going to go live for the first time straight after a game. So myself, so far the panel is confirmed to be myself and Lottie. Haven't really decided who else we're going to get on for that show, because it is quite late. I think it's a 10 p.m. kickoff straight after the Scotland game. But it's going to be very interesting because it's something we've never done. And I'm sure me and Lottie will probably have a couple of bevies during the match. So we'll see how that goes. We're live straight after the game. Did you want to say something, Lottie?
Stephen said it already, but I was just messaging you and just there's people want to know where they can follow Keith. Oh,
Keith, did you did you mention where people can follow you?
No, I think it's because Keith went on to me.
Is it? Oh, my apologies.
Keith was being the absolute gentleman that he is.
My bad.
Being the absolute gentleman that he is. But that is why people should go follow him.
Definitely.
Very kind, thank you. Firstly, thanks ever so much for having me on again. I can't believe you keep asking me back, but it's great to be here. I love it. You can find me on Twitter. You can either look for Keith Yates or at Mad Rambling One, or you can have a look at my very newly formed YouTube channel. It's called Keith at Mostly Arsenal, as it says on the screen there, and it kind of does what it says on the tin. I'll speak a little bit about Arsenal, not too much, because there's like loads and loads of content creators that know way more than I do. So I tend to start where I talk a little bit about Arsenal, and then I go off on these really, really weird tangents, like you might have noticed that I've done this evening a couple of times. I just talk about random shit that's happened in life in general, which is sometimes quite funny. So yeah, if you like the sound of that, have a look. But thanks for having me, guys. Really, really appreciate it.
No problem. So yeah, and that's about it. We will see you on Friday for our Three Lions Road to Wembley review of the Scotland game at 10 p.m. Look out for that being advertised throughout the week. But yeah, thank you so much for staying tuned. We've been on the air for over 2 hours. Massive thank you to everybody who's been viewing, and good night.